Now we'll try to understand one more important topic. It is AWS global infrastructure. So to understand this AWS global infrastructure, right, here the AWS is providing its services to the global customers. How it is possible to the AWS to provide its resources to the global customers? Because the AWS have set up its data centers across all the continents. What do you mean by these data centers? They are the physical buildings where these IT resources are maintained, right? Now, how these data centers are maintained, how they are grouped together. So, to make it clear, we need to understand this AWS global infrastructure. So, in this global infrastructure, you need to understand what do you mean by regions and what do you mean by availability zones, right? And with the data centers, and what do you mean by the edge locations. So, in the interview or else in the examination in the AWS applications, you might face these questions with respect to this topic. It is very fundamental that you need to understand before we going to start this AWS. So to make it clear, what do you mean by these regions, availability zones, and edge locations? So what happened here? As I told you, AWS had the resources across globally. For example, in India, the AWS has selected two regions. One is Mumbai and one is Hyderabad. What do you mean by this Mumbai and Hyderabad? They are the two regions. I'm calling it as the regions. It is the first layer of this global infrastructure. So regions means it is a physically available geographical locations or geographical areas. They are the physically available geographical areas. So AWS came to India. They selected these two regions, the physical geographical locations, Mumbai and Hyderabad. So within Mumbai, they started set up many data centers. Data center 1, data center 2, 3. Okay, they started set up many data centers. But how they are organized? Are they randomly distributed? Are these data centers? As I told you, what in my data centers? They're the physically buildings where these IT resources are maintained. Right now, are these data centers are randomly allocated? No. In this region, again, they had grouping these data centers. Okay, this cluster, this group of data center, this cluster of data centers, they are called as availability zones. Right? It means it is availability zone A, and they are calling it as availability zone B, and here it is calling it as availability zone C. So what in my availability zone now? Availability zones are part of the regions, so which contains one or more physically separated data centers, right? Each availability zone, if you see, they are the one or more physically separated data centers, and it is part of a region, right? So here our region is a Mumbai, and we have the three availability zones inside this Mumbai region. And what in my availability zone? It is a grouping of data centers. Each availability zone contains more than one data center. It is a cluster of data centers. Fine. Why more than one data center? If anything happened to one data center, still the other machines are ready to take that workload, ready to provide the services to the users from this region. You might ask, then why we have more than one availability zone? One availability zone is enough, no? Availability zone A is enough in this region. Why AWS had created many availability zones? Yes, it is because of fault tolerance. Now, what do you mean by fault tolerance here? If you observe, if anything happened to this availability zone C, let's say in the Mumbai region, I am taking it as Nasik, Pune, and it is Solapur. Let's say, example. Let's say in the Nasik, there is a power interruption. For example, in the Nasik, there is a power interruption. Due to some disasters, the complete Nasik got power interruption. Now the users who are trying to access these resources from this availability zone from the Mumbai region, okay, the users who are very close to Mumbai region, they are accessing the services from this availability zone C. So the AWS is providing the resources to these users from this respect to data centers because they are opted this availability zone. If anything happened to Nasik availability zone, it might be power interruptions or something. So complete users get disrupted, right? Users get disrupted with this disaster. So to overcome that, as a backup, the AWS very cleverly had set up few more data centers to provide the continuous services to the users from this respective region. That is known as a fault tolerance. So I hope it is clear to everyone. So now it is clear, right? What is the data center? What are the availability zones? What are the regions? Let me show you some images to make it more clear. So if you see this image, so it is the AWS infrastructure, and you can observe this image. So AWS region is a geographical location in which there are the multiple availability zones. So here also it is one of the region. Let's say example Mumbai. In the Mumbai we have the three availability zones like availability zone A, B, C, and all these availability zones are connectivity. They are connected with the low latency. And what the availability zone contains? In the availability zone, you have the more than one data centers. So availability zones, it include one or more distinct data centers, right? So they are the buildings, as I shown you the data centers, they are the buildings where these IT resources are maintained with continuous power supply, continuous cooling system, and low latency, low network connectivity, providing the services to the users. Now, if you observe this, we came to a platform where it is AWS global infrastructure. And if you see globally, AWS have more than 39 geographical regions, right? Globally, if you observe here in each and every continent, now it is North American continent, right? If you go to South America, you can see these are all the regions in the South America. If you come to Asia, right, these are the geographical regions which are part of this Asia. And if you see this India, as I told you, we have the two regions. One is Asia Pacific Hyderabad and one is Asia Pacific Mumbai. If I open this Hyderabad, right, if I open this Hyderabad, you can see in Hyderabad, there are almost like three availability zones. So within this Hyderabad, we have the three availability zones. And when it is launched in the year 2022. So likewise, if you see the Mumbai, so Mumbai also having the three availability zones. It is launched in the year 2016. What do you mean by availability zones now? So in this region, we have more than one availability zones, right? And what is this availability zones? It contains a group of data centers, right? As I already shown you, what do you mean by data centers? So within these availability zones, you can find these data centers, right? You can find these buildings within these availability zones. So overall in the AWS, if you observe, we have the 39 geographical regions, together 123 availability zones within these 39 geographical regions. It means in every region there are the one or more availability zones. Fine. See this data. I hope it is clear to everyone. Thank you.